Okay, Big Kahuna here. Pop culture politics for August 10th, 2024. Uh, if you hear any sounds in the background, just want to let you know. Uh, I live in a three-bedroom apartment, and my son Derek and his wonderful wife Dakota live with us uh, because we need the help. We're all banged up. Kelly and I were both disabled. So I'm grateful for them being here, and I'm grateful for them for the help. And they just brighten the place up. It'd be boring if they weren't here. So, uh, see my backdrop here, videos, uh, some of my collectibles, Annabelle Tiki mug, all that. The nun, the and as always, the hat matches the shirt. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the Big Kahuna. Uh, Sad news. I'm going to start things off. Patty Usitaki, who played Nurse Ogawa in Star Trek: The Next Generation, has passed away. She was 70. If you don't remember her, she was, I think, in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Plus, she was in Star Trek: First Contact. Okay, we're going to get to a lot of. Before I get into the woke the politics and some of the stuff, uh, the reason I'm wearing my Dolphins hat and matching shirt is um I am a lifelong Dolphins fan, and I was very glad that the Dolphins joined along with other teams uh, to not honor Pride Night. This was a movement started by the players of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the uh, the family that owns the Steelers, and it just kind of snowballed. And the reason I'm glad they don't support the Pride Night is the what is going on in Chavez Ravine and Dodger Stadium the last 2 years during Pride Night in Major League Baseball. It was abhorrent. First of all, I don't think all the stuff that goes on during the Pride parades and these Pride nights. I don't really think they're representative of most gay people. I grew up around gay people. There's a girl I've known since elementary school. She's a lesbian. Uh, Levi McCullough, who is a um, log cabin conservative, is gay. Uh, he's like a third son to me. I mean, ironically, we went camping with him. You know, the joke about going camping with a gay guy. He went camping with us when he was younger. He's a great guy. A very very strong conservative. To the point that he's almost a libertarian. He has a great uh, podcast called The McCullough Wire. I encourage you to watch it. But like I said, this stuff is a lot of all this stuff is really not representative of most of them. Um, I know a guy who owns um, shops in souvenir shops in Oahu and the Big Island, and he always had a pride flag hanging out, and he took that flag down because he said it was no longer representative of him and his values, and it was bad for business. And what really got to him was the fact that they started making all these different flags, and they made a flag. This is what really hit him hard, was the YAP flag, Youth Attracted Person. He said there was a flag for everything instead of just one flag. And he said when the YAP thing came along, he pulled his flag in. He said it wasn't representative of him. So I was proud of him for doing that. So since the 1980s, theology has been creeping its way into the entertainment industry. but under the guise of what was called social consciousness. Uh, Shows like NYPD Blue, Law and Order, and even Star Trek The Next Generation among those that brought in this social consciousness. Today has been commonplace, but it appears we may have turned a corner because of how it hit the profitability of a lot of these companies. The whole go woke and go broke is finally sinking in. People are refusing to go to their movies and watch their shows. Crowdfunding Christian-based shows like The Chosen and movies like The Sound of Freedom have achieved success, and the industry has taken note. However, it still isn't going away. CBS brought back Matlock, but they gave him a sex change because now Kathy Bates plays Matlock. NBC is doing the same bit of gender bending with a program they brought back, but they kind of doubled down on the woke. Quincy Emmy, Jack Klugman played Quincy. Jack Klugman from The Odd Couple played Quincy years ago in the I think it was the 70s and the 80s. Well, Quincy came back, and Quincy is now the same womanizing person, but this time Quincy is a lesbian. HBO's Game of Thrones and its sequel, House of the Dragon, saw what the sexuality that was going on did to the ratings. There were still people who watched it and were titillated by it, but they were really turned off by the Queen when the original show had her children were conceived by an incestuous affair. And that same theme carried over in House of the Dragon, because the Queen in that had an incestuous affair with, I think it was either her uncle or her cousin, and her children became the product of that. And then she had other children that were the product of adultery. But now they're finally starting to turn and make the show a bit more political, like a political soap opera, and with plot twists and better writing, well-developed stories, story arcs that continue on. So they've realized that they were losing viewers because of it. Paramount, to an extent, has seen the same thing, same results, and have taken a little turn away from the woke writing too, but not completely. Mayor of Kingstown, one of the best political corruption scandal stories on TV since House of Cards, is really, like I said, a political soap opera that shows the dirty side of politics. And the mayor isn't even the mayor, elected official. They just call him the mayor because he runs the city, and he runs the crime in the city. He's a gangster. And if you don't think politics has a gangster side, do you really think Jeffrey Epstein and Vince Foster's committed suicide? I don't think so. Star Trek had a ultra woke TV show called Star Trek Discovery, and that finally came to an end this year. To tell you how woke this was, the captain of the ship was the transgender adopted sister of Spock. The con and see what I told you? The con and ops officers were lesbians. The chief engineer and chief medical officer were a gay married couple. The engineering science officer was a lesbian played by a lesbian comedian. They had a person on the show that gained about 80 pounds after the first season because they wanted her to be like, not everybody be so fit and attractive. And that and what's really funny is this fat chick in the last season won a marathon, and fat chicks don't win marathons. I'm sorry. It was really ridiculous how woke Star Trek Discovery was, and they realized that the viewership was down. So now they came out with a show about 2 years ago called Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And Strange New Worlds, hold on a second, I got ahead of myself with the. Oh, before Strange New Worlds came out, I forgot the other thing that really broke the show, Star Trek Discovery, was they had an adolescent non binary gay group of two boys, two young adolescents, and like they were androgynous and they were a couple. All right, gotta get back up. Strange New Worlds. Let's get to Strange New Worlds. It's probably the most like the original series since the original series. It takes place on the original Enterprise with the captain that was prior to Kirk. Kirk makes some cameos in it, played by a guy from the Vampire Diaries. But this show is considerably less woke. There's the hint of a lesbian couple in the show, but not really. It is kind of top heavy with female leads, heroic leads, but the show is actually pretty good. They're coming out with another series called Starfleet Academy, and that's planned to be kind of similar to Star Trek Voyager, where they have a female lead like Janeway. It's too soon to see how woke that's going to be. Paramount also has a non-woke TV show starring Sylvester Stallone as a gangster called Tulsa Queen. He's a gangster. The show's called Tulsa King, not Queen. And he's a gangster in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Was sent there by the mob when he came out of prison. They thought it was a punishment. He pretty much made it profit for them. Another show that Paramount's bringing back is the final season of Yellowstone, which is probably one of the most popular TV shows in the last several decades. Now, parts of Disney are turning away from the woke, and parts of them aren't. The Marvel division has lost billions in woke TV shows and woke movies in the Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they have changed things back on a trajectory back by bringing it back. The directors of the 4 best money drawing MCU movies, all of them made over $1 billion. And that's the Russo brothers. They directed Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. So they're coming back for Avengers Doomsday. And they brought Robert Downey Jr. to play a variant of Tony Stark from another universe who happens to be Doctor Doom. And they're also going to be directing 2 more movies, Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2. So they are turning away from the things like Ms. Marvel was an Arab teenager. Then you had another teenager who was a lesbian from another dimension, that there was asexual procreation between 2 women, and that was America Chavez. And who else did they have that was woke? Oh, Captain Marvel and Pulsar. They were all in the Marvels movies. Then you had there was a lot of woke stuff in Wakanda Forever. Ironheart was in that, female Black Panther. Most of the characters were female, and some of them were lesbians. Then you had, like I said, Miss Marvel. Uh, the oh God, what was it? Secret Invasion. That also was on the woke side, but Marvel's coming back with what else was it woke? Oh, Black Widow, the Fantastic Four reboot where they changed the ethnicity of Johnny Storm. Thor: Love and Thunder was woke, and She-Hulk. Then you get to the most woke character probably in the history of the MCU, and that was Echo. Echo is a lesbian amputee who is deaf and is a Native American. So how can you get more woke than that? And that's taken place over the last 4 years with Marvel, and they've seen how this has hurt them. Catching up on my notes here. Kevin Feige, like I said, he fired Jonathan Majors. He fired a black man. That's probably the least woke thing you could do is fire somebody who's from one of their aggrieved demographics. They fired a black man who played Kang because he beat the shit out of his girlfriend. The turn already has been made with Marvel, with Deadpool and Wolverine, probably the least woke movie that came out of the Disney-owned Marvel franchise. It's Marvel's history is that with the woke stuff. I think Marvel is gonna kick that out because there was even jokes through the fourth wall made by Deadpool about Marvel and about DC and their woke stuff. So that made it pretty funny. Like I said about Feige bringing back RDJ and the Russo brothers. Now, Star Wars is still very much over the woke side for the last 10 years. You have The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, all woke. Jon Favreau tried to turn it away, and he brought out a very masculine hero called The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is a very good series. They're going to make a Mandalorian movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu. But after that, when season 4 of The Mandalorian comes up, they're killing him off. They're killing off Din Djarin and replacing him with a female Mandalorian. Now, that has part to do with the star of The Mandalorian is now playing Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. Ahsoka, female-dominated show. The only main characters that are men are this guy, this long-lost Jedi that they found, and the villain of the show, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Everything else is pretty much female, including the introduction of the lesbian space witches. Yeah, and the lesbian space witches were a key figure in the Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Acolyte. The lesbian space witches produced two set of twin women, children that were conceived in a vergence of the Force. In other words, they used magic and the Force to make these two. And one was good and one was evil. And one took the side of this Dark Lord of the Sith, and the other didn't. And that's how the show ended. Um, in fact, the one twin ended up killing the other. Then this Dave Filoni took over, and then it took a turn right back to the woke. He postponed the release of Skeleton Crew, which was a male Jedi who was taking care of these prospective children, youngling Jedi, and it was that's been pushed off till next year. It's been pushed off I don't know how many times. It's been completed for a couple of years, and that's going to appear on Disney Plus sometime next year. Filoni also canceled the release of a movie that's been completed for 4 years. That was an origin story of Lando Calrissian. It was dominated by male heroes in the show. And when it was completed, it just simply didn't contain enough woke elements. Well, they spent like $100 and some million to make this movie. And they simply, because it wasn't woke, they're not going to release it. It's going to go in the trash. Maybe someday it might be released. Who knows? Disney's Doctor Who. They doubled down on woke with this show. Show has been 60 years on the air, had a large following. It started in black and white on BBC. It's one of the longest running TV shows in history. It had a 50-year run, went away, then came back for another 11 or 12 years. So they have like a 60-year run. Hold on a second. Like I said, the new series has drawn sharp criticism from the original fans, and they're not watching. Disney then came out with a Black Little Mermaid in the live action series. And they've come out with a gay, they made Buzz Lightyear gay. And so that's why Tim Allen didn't return as Buzz Lightyear. And he didn't return as Buzz Lightyear for Toy Story 5 either. Then you have a Hispanic Snow White in the live action Snow White movie they're making. And I hear there's some real plot turns, and story changes for that. Well, as long as people continue to support these kind of shows and movies, nothing will change. So we really got to pursue this go woke or go broke, and go woke and go broke theology, and Christians really need to stop going to movies like that. All right, that's the end of this video of pop culture politics for this week. I'm the Big Kahuna, Patrick Miley. Please like and follow these podcasts. Stay safe and God bless.